Hello, everybody. I want to say hello to you. As you can see, I'm here by myself this evening. Carla, she had a prior engagement. So I told her that I would do some things tonight and just talk about the show. Tonight's show is really a two-part show. Part one is about understanding minority business, certifications and things of that sort. Next week, Carla is going to be here with Carla Tucker and Robin Gibson. And they are going to talk about the different types of certifications, their processes that they have. I think Carla Tucker will talk about her process for Baltimore County. And I think Miss Gibbons is going to talk about any type of federal processes that deals with businesses becoming certified, and things of that sort. This evening, what I want to talk a little bit about when it comes to your business and you making a decision, whether or not if you want to be certified, whether in a county, a state, or the city. You need to think about that because some people will say to you, oh, I want to get certified, I want to make some money, I want to be a part of this contract and everything. Well, you can do all of that without certification. What you need to do is ask yourself, what is it about certification that makes me want to take my company through that? You ask yourself this: my company is already running good without me being certified. And so I participate on a contract with a prime contractor, and they ask me about being, getting my company certified for maybe future contracts with them. You have to ask yourself, is that lucrative for me? Is that in my best interest? Is it in the prime contractor's best interest that I become certified if my company is already doing well? I think some companies just come, to the certification offices, whether I said state, federal, county, or city, and they'll come to the office and they say, I put my application in, I'm waiting to be certified. But then when you ask the question of, so why do you want to be certified? Most of the responses said, because someone asked me. A prime contractor had asked me. It's always responses about someone has asked me. And that makes me ponder. It makes me ponder to say, what is it that you don't take the time to think about? How is this really going to affect my company? Money looks good, but not all money is good money. So you have to ask yourself, what effect is this going to have if I take my company through the process? Becoming certified at any level means that you need to look at the whole operation, process, and procedures of how you operate your company. Most certification programs might have you maybe change. When I say change, that means if you look at the criteria for the different certification programs or processes, there may be things about how you do business you can no longer do because you're trying to fit your company within the criteria of that certification program. And so you then want to ask yourself, is this really in the best interest for my company? After you do that, you take the time to say, okay, once I become certified, then what? Some companies think that as soon as they become certified, the heavens of contracting opportunities open up, and all of a sudden they get all of these, contracts. That's not the case. Certification is another notch on your resume for your business to say, okay, I am certified in this category, these NAICS codes, I'm certified in the county, I'm certified with the state, or I'm federally certified, to participate on those types of contracts, right? It does not stop you from having to go out there and still, how you say, hit the pavement. You still have to go out there and work the same way you were before you even got the certification. It's just now you can brag, you can boast, you can market that my company is now certified in either federal, state, county, to be able to work on those particular type of contracts, right? So it doesn't take anything away from, it doesn't make it easier. It just gives you that extra notch to say that, okay, now my company is certified. But it doesn't mean that just because you become certified, because one of the requirements is that you become certified in your own state. So just because you're certified in that state doesn't mean you can go work in another state that easily. You then have to be certified in your own state in order to qualify to try to go through the certification process in another state. So then you start all over again with sending the same types of documentation, just updated from the home state to the next state that you want to be certified in. And or you're sending those same documents to the next county. For example, you're certified in Maryland. Say you go through the process of getting your state certification. Well, that does not mean that you qualify for Baltimore. It doesn't mean that you qualify also for Prince George's County or any other county that has a certification program. You still have to go through that process and submit those types of paperwork to those different counties as well. One of the things that I have been pushing for so many years for the state of Maryland is to come up with a certification that helps small minority and women owned businesses, where they don't have to start over every time they want to be certified within the city or the county or what have you, if they go ahead and they do their state or federal certification here. And like I said, I've been talking about it. I've been talking to the right people. I've been doing everything in my career for 30 something years. But as you see, Maryland and other states is still the same. Small businesses still have to go through the same process, regardless. The other thing that I wanted to touch base on when it comes to your business and certifications is this: do your homework about, once you're certified, then what do you want to target? What types of contracts do you want to target? Because that helps you to make a certification decision, right? It helps you to say, well, if I get certified, say in Prince George's County, what contracts there do I want to work on when it comes to Prince George's County, right? So think about what's really best for my business, because I have seen in my years where companies have totally just changed how they operate just to meet the criteria for a certification program. And they were operating just fine before that. So I don't have anything against certification programs. I have been a proponent of certification programs all my years of working in the state, because that's what we do. We encourage, we help, we do everything we can so that businesses will become certified, because we want them to get that state money. We want them to be a part of a state contract. All I'm saying is that when you make that decision, if your company was already running great, just think about it, because there are changes you would have to make. There are proponents or components, I'm sorry, of your business that you might have to do differently so that you can ensure that you meet the criteria of those programs. One of the things I wanted to talk about also tonight that deals with certification, I made some notes for tonight to talk about, um, is be mindful of the fact that there are different processes for the state, for the city, for the counties. Now, there are similar ones as well. Similar questions, you'll see similar information asked on the application process. Be mindful, so that if you make a decision that you're going to get certified in more than one area, keep good records. Record keeping becomes your friend in the certification process. It's already your friend in the business process, but it becomes your friend again in the certification process. I've already talked to you about asking yourself, is certification good for me? Is it good for my business and how I want to operate? So, what that does, it makes you have to learn about the programs. Educate yourself on the different certification programs. The Disadvantaged Business Program, Small Business Enterprise Program. Those are your federal side programs. Know the difference between your federal and your state programs. Minority Business Enterprise Program. You have, Maryland has a Small Business Reserve Program. Some of the counties have local programs. Know the differences in all of these different programs. Know your rights. You have to learn what your rights are in these different programs so you'll know how to operate and maneuver within those different types of programs. Learn about the different contracts that comes out that you once certified. They are recurring contracts, right? So that means every year these state, company, counties, they all these contracts every 3 to 5 years they come out, or every year they come out. And if it's contracts that you want to bid on, learn about those. Normally goes by the Governor's Office of Small and Minority Women-Owned Business Affairs. They have a listing on their website for the state of Maryland contracts that are recurring contracts. And so learn about it. Go to the websites, look at the different types of those contracts, and know the agencies that you want to work with. Business ownership. Make sure that you read about the definitions for the 51% owned. How do you want to break down the shares in your company in order to meet what the definition is for socially and economically disadvantaged? Okay? Think about that, what I'm saying. Do your homework. Then you have to start to look at the types of control. When you go through the certification process and you fill out your application, the ladies and gentlemen who are reviewing your application and processing the work, they're looking for the different type of business control. So let's start out with independent businesses. Make sure that you are not dependent on another company. Make sure that there is clear separation and you're not sharing people and equipment and office space and all of that. Only an independent business may be certified as an MBE or DBE. Okay, so don't be dependent on another company for space, equipment, office supplies, people. Be independent. This is under operational control. Again, this is under operational control. Only an independent business may be certified as an MBE DBE. The next one is the MBE or the DBE owners must be knowledgeable in all aspects of the business. So when you start talking about that, you're talking about what do you know about the NAICS codes, because that's the North American Industry Codes that describes the work that you want to be certified in. Where did your knowledge come from when it comes to talk about be knowledgeable in all aspects of your business? How does it operate? Who's doing what? Who controls what? Who does the day to day? Be knowledgeable. If it's your company, you should know everything about how that company operates. Next one. The MBE or the DBE owners, could one or more, must show that the basic decisions pertaining to the daily operations are made independently. So, the daily operations, if you have to depend on somebody else to help you to make a decision about something that needs to be taken care of or needs to be done because you have no idea what that is, then you don't know about the daily operations. You're not the one actually in charge. I'm not saying you have to be the subject matter expert based on whatever industry it is, but understand this. You need to make sure that you can make independent decisions when it comes to your company. That's what's going to be looked at. Okay. The next one. The MBE or DBE owner must have some experience and technical competence in the industry. Experience and technical competence in those areas that you want to be certified in. Going back to the word I used was NAICS codes. That's an industry code describing the type of work that you want to do or be certified in. So I'm going to say it again, must have experience and some technical competence in the industry. Don't try to be certified in a NAICS code that is really not the main work of your company. Say you were working on something, the prime contractor say, "Are you able to fix such and such?" And you say, "Oh yeah, I can do that." That don't mean that that's the job or the task that your company does all the time. That's a happenstance. I know it's an old person's word. It's a happenstance. You just happen to do that while you were doing the main job. It doesn't mean that that's the job that brings your money in. That's not the task that brings your money in. Okay? So know some experience and technical competence in the main job that your company will perform. I see I have Chap Loveless checking in. Thank you, Chap. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you. The next one under operational controls. There can be no formal or informal restrictions which limits the customary direction of the MBE or DBE owner. So that means that you need to look at how your business plan and things are written up so that there are no restrictions that restricts you as the owner from running the day to day, making the type of decisions you need to make. Let me see. One of the good examples of this probably would be if you was trying to own or get a piece of a franchise. And in the franchise, the agreement that you have, it tells you, okay, well, you can't sell in this region and you can't sell in that region. You're only restricted to these regions right here. And if you go over that, there'll be a penalty, those type of limitations and restrictions. Under operational control, that means you don't have the control. You're being told what you can and cannot do based on those things. So now we're going to go to management control. Under management control, it says the MBE or DBE owners has the demonstrable ability to make independent and unilateral business decisions to guide the future and destiny of the business. Management control, you have the ability to make independent and unilateral business decisions to guide the type of businesses and firms' overall operations. So you need to think about that. When it comes to management control of your business, your company, all of the control and the decision making at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. And I'm sure you've heard that term. The buck stops with you. There should be nothing in the operation of that business that keeps you from being able to make independent decisions across the entire space of how you want your company to operate. You have to be able to demonstrate that you can do that for the best interest of your company under management control. Next, we have the MBE or the DBE owners must have an overall understanding of and technical competence directly related to type of business and firm's overall operations. So, where did you learn how to do what the company is doing? How many years have you been doing that? What experience? Is it hands on? Is it from books? Do you have a certification from a school or someplace that you went to learn how to have this technical competence in running the operation, the day to day, the everything, the labor, being able to explain what that looks like of your company? Where did you learn it? Where did you get it from? Have you been just doing that for, like, say, 10, 12, 5 years? Say you learned it from your mom, or you learned something from your dad, your cousin, you was working here or there. Where did you learn this technical competence in the industry or the NAICS code that you want to be certified in? Start documenting that, writing it down. It'll surprise you how many years you might have been doing something, but you only counting, say, the past 2-3 years when you felt like, okay, my business has been in operation for them. But you've been doing it before you actually establish your business. So that technical competence, you need to make sure that you put that down, because it goes beyond when you established your business. The next one, absence of a license or credentials is a factor in determining control. Say if you're in an industry that requires some type of license, credentialing, certifications, or something like that, you need to have those as part of your packet for the certification. And this is anywhere. Once again, if it's the state, federal, county, city, you need to make sure you have the proper license, certification, credentials. If the industry requires that you have one, then you need to make sure that you have the engineering, that you have the electrical, whatever these licenses are in that industry. Those are the things you need to ensure that you have. It's part of the packet. It's part of your check off. to ensure that under that particular NAICS code, you have everything that is required to move your certification along. Let's see, the next one we have is the MBE and the DBE owners must devote sufficient time and attention to the affairs of the firm. Sufficient time and attention to the affairs of the firm. So, let me tell you this. If you already work someplace and you're starting your business while you're still working in another place, then you have to say or ask yourself, this is about asking yourself, how much time do I actually devote to my company versus where I'm working? That's going to be looked at. How much time are you actually devoting? I'm read it again. The MBE or DBE owner must devote sufficient time and attention to the affairs of the firm. How much time are you spending with developing, creating, putting your company together, marketing? One of the biggest things. Are you marketing your company? Can you prove that you're out there looking for work, that you're marketing what it is you want to do? You shouldn't be spending more time at your other job than you do at the work you're trying to do for your company. You want to try to balance that out some type of way. The other part about that is this. You have to look at the industry or the NAICS codes. Say if it's a job that, okay, during the day I'm working here such and such a 30 hours, some hours. But at night, because maybe that industry works at night, I'm doing 8 hours. I'm doing, whatever shift amount of hours in night with my company. And so you can see that I have balanced that time out. I'm putting that time in for my company. I'm making sure that I got a little contract here already. I can balance that day job against my company's night job or the weekends. So think about how that looks when you have to show, are you putting enough time into the affairs of your company so that it's viable? Are you marketing your company? So think about all that as you're putting your packet together, so that you can show those types of things, okay? Transfer of control from a non-MBE DBE to obtain a MBE DBE certification is prohibited. I'm going to read that one more time. Transfer of control from a non-MBE DBE to obtain a MBE DBE certification is prohibited. So you're working in a company, or you in a non-minority, non-DBE, MBE. Say you've been working together for years doing a job. Say you're in construction, you've been working, y'all have a construction business, you've been working in construction business for years, you're doing quite well. The business, like I said, everything's been running good and stuff like that. And whoever, either you have the idea or it comes to you, someone comes to you and say, hey, you guys thought about getting certified, then you can work on this larger construction contract as a subcontractor. And you could make some more money, you could get some more jobs in or something like that. And to you, it sounds appealing because like you're trying to get that money. You're trying to make that money, right? So when you start to learn about the program and you see that these programs are for your minority women own, small businesses, you're like, okay, well, you know what? Although me and my non-minority partner, we've been running this business for the past couple of years, we've been doing pretty good. If we change the business from me and him equally to me solely, me the minority solely, just to get this certification, that's prohibited. You don't do that if your business is already run. That's prohibited. And I'm gonna tell you this: I've seen it in my years. Yes, I've seen it, and it's prohibited. Don't mess your company up like that. No, think about it. The next one: the firm must possess the equipment, resources needed to perform its work. Once again, you have any type of company that requires any type of equipment and resources, you starting a company up and you have nothing. Say you have a janitorial company or something like that. So where are all your janitorial supplies? Where are the contracts that you have with companies to get the cleaning supplies and chemicals? And you need to be able to show that if I don't have these readily right here in my hand, like in my closet, in my storage area, or I have a lot that I'm renting to keep my equipment on this lot, then what are you doing? How are you operating without equipment and resources to perform the work? So if you are trying to get certified in the NAICS code that requires you to show equipment and resources, you need to have those. You need to be able to have them somewhere. Whether you have a room, a garage, whether you done rented a warehouse, whether you have property where you keep your heavy equipment, you need to be able to show you're ready, willing, and able to work because you have your licenses, credentials, your resources, your equipment, all of these things that you need to run your company should you get a contract. The next item is under management control. We're still under management control. The MBE DBE owner must demonstrate the ability to control work in the specific types of areas for which the firm is seeking certification. That's going back to your NAICS codes, North Atlantic Industry Codes, okay? Whatever NAICS codes, because you can do more than one, that you're submitting on your application that you want to be certified for, you need to demonstrate, show the experience, technical knowledge about that work or industry, and how you can control the specific type of areas. Whether you're in construction and you break the construction down, whether you're in IT, computers, and you break that down, how do you control all the different components and areas of the NAICS codes, descriptions of work that you're submitting on your application that you want to be certified for? You have to be able to demonstrate that, write that down, think about what it is, how you got the knowledge, how you got the experience. It sounds like a whole lot, but really it's not as much as you think when you know about your company. It's just basically saying, how do you control what you know how to do? And where did you learn it from? I'm just summarizing it in a nutshell. But when you start talking about certifications, that's what you need to think about. You need to think about your operational control and your management controls. So The things that I went over tonight, I'm hoping that they help you a little bit to make different decisions about if you want your company to be certified or not. The other thing I want to briefly go over with you, I made some other notes on here, is to talk about a little bit. I'm just going to list them out. When you go to the websites of whether it's the county, city, state, what have you, right? They have information on the websites that explains to you about, if it's a LLC, sole source partner, all these type of things, types of businesses. But they're so user friendly now, and they tell you, okay, so this is a checklist for certification information you should start to gather when you want to fill out the entire pack and then to have all your information together. So the first one is your uniform certification application. So that's the application that you're going to fill out based on the type of business that you have, whether it's like I said, sole partnership, what have you, LLC. That's the type. You pick the right one of those, right? The next one is you want to make sure that you have articles of incorporation or articles of your organization. They have definitions for all of these on the website. If you don't understand what all of those are, you want to make sure that you go on the websites and you look them up. Choose the correct application and any articles of incorporation or articles of your organization. Next, you want to have any type of operating agreements. You need to make sure that on your applications of information that you're filling out, it'd really be good if you had a business lawyer or someone to look through those and to kind of help you with some of the language and information to make sure that it reads correctly. Because when it goes back to when I start talking about your operational and management controls, the way that this information is filled out is going to dictate whether or not if you have those controls. So when you start talking about your operating agreement and things of that sort, it should be written in there with no restrictions on you as the actual owner. Okay? Make sure there are no restrictions written in your operating agreements. Make sure that you have bank signature authorizations. Get copies of your bank signature authorization cards. Who's on there? Who's on your, on your bank that can authorize to write checks up to what amount? Are you the only one? Is it shared? And if it's shared, who is it shared with? How much control do they have over your finances? Think about that. Your personal net worth statement. That's another sheet of application. It looks like an application form. But this is when you're going to start writing down everything that deals with your personal net worth. This is going to be stuff where you start writing down about your taxes and liabilities and all of those things. You want to have proof of good standing. You want to have proof of contributions. Now, this tends to really get people the proof of contributions. So you want to be able to show financially how much have you contributed, or is it just sweat equity? And how are you going to define sweat equity? You need to write that all out. Make sure that your proof of contribution of how you started this company up, where the money came from, how did you get the equipment, save them receipts. Save all of your receipts because you need to be able to show it. What did you do? Did you buy, okay, for office equipment, right? So receipts for your computer and anything that you need to operate, say if your business just needs that. Anything you did to set up that office, save those receipts because they become proof of your contributions toward the company. And you need to be able to show that. Identification document. your year-end financial statements. Resumes. You want to have resumes of the owner and any key employees. Say if you're not the only one who's, hey, going into this with you, right? You have employees. If you have key employees like foremans or something like that, managers who did this, and this, somebody who's in charge of operations for that, you want to make sure that you have their resumes. Personal federal tax returns for year 1, year 2, and year 3. If you have them, you want to make sure that you gather those all together. Okay. Now, those first 13 documents that I read off are like your mandatory documents. Okay. You want to make sure that you have those. I'm going to read them off real quick again. Your uniform certification application, articles of incorporation or articles of organization, your operating agreement, bank signature authorizations, personal net worth statement, proof of good standing, proof of contributions, identification documents, year-end financial statements, resumes for the owner and any key employees. You want to have your personal federal tax returns for 1, 2, or 3 years. Okay. Now, the next thing that you want to have is these are what I call conditional documents. The affidavit, if certification or statement of disadvantage, you want to make sure you have that. Any type of lease, loan, or distributionship agreements. You want to have your business plan. You want to have your business federal tax returns. Before I mention your personal federal tax returns. Now I'm saying your business federal tax returns for year 1, 2, or 3. You want to have your licenses and permits. Now remember, I was talking to you in the beginning of the show about your licenses and permits. If you're in an industry, okay, where you have a license, credentials, or anything that's needed, you want to make sure that you have your certificates and things for that. Okay.
Right.
Who is
Oh,
somebody?
I'm sorry. Hey, how you doing? It's me,
Oh,
William.
hi. How are you?
I'm sorry. I apologize. You were talking about business certifications, and I love it. And so I wanted to just join in and just be like, oh my God, I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this.
Well,
Because
I'm gonna tell you. So this is different for me. I didn't know people could just jump in. So I mean,
well,
well,
no, it's so let me be honest. I'm gonna tell you some stuff here, and it's you probably don't know this. I found where Donnie hides all the secret buttons. So I pop in and out of stuff because so this is all part of my mental health journey as well. So and I'm sorry to interrupt you while you're going ahead and educating the people about making sure they have the stuff. But like I said, I get excited about this kind of stuff. So I
Well,
want to
you
just
know what? I'm glad you're excited. I'm glad
yeah.
you're excited. So this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna talk some more about that. Let me
Okay.
finish this little list out. And
Yeah.
if you think of something, let's just talk about it. We got a little
Okay.
time. We got a little time.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So as I was saying, you need to make sure that you have your business plan. Okay. I was talking about your business federal tax returns for 1, 2, and 3 year. The first one I mentioned is your personal federal tax returns. I was talking about the licenses and permits. Now, you also need to make sure that when I was telling you about saving receipts, have copies of your job contracts or invoices because they will ask for these as part of the application process. So you want to be able to show those. List of equipment used to provide services. You have to list out all of your equipment. Make a list of whether you have heavy equipment, office equipment. If it's a janitorial job, you want to list out all of that. Any type of warehouse equipment. They need to know about, okay, what do you have on hand to be able to provide the services that you're requesting in the NAICS codes. You want to have copies of home state and or denials. So say if you are certified in another state and you're
Mm-hmm.
coming to the state of Maryland to get certified, you have to be able to show where you are certified in your home state
Mm.
that Maryland will accept you to be certified or go through the certification process in this state. And that's everywhere. So
Okay.
everywhere they're going to ask you, well, are you certified in your home state? Because you're trying to be certified here in New York, or you're trying to be certified in Virginia. Are you certified? They're all going to ask you, are you certified in your home state? And so you need to have a copy of your certification, and if it's
Mm-hmm.
up to date. And if you were denied in your home state, they're going to ask you that too. So be honest and say, well, I was certified in this and denied in that, but I can do this now, and they'll go over all of that with you.
Okay.
You want to make sure that if you have any type of vehicles that help you to do your work, you want to have the vehicle titles or the registration and insurance. You want to have copies of those to show. Say you're a trucking company and you have 3 or 4 trucks. So you want to make sure you have all of this information on the 3 or 4 trucks
Mm.
to show that this is part of your equipment. This is how, I do the trucking, I do hauling, I pick up, the construction material. You want to be
Mhm.
able to show that this is equipment that you utilize in order to do that work. You want to also have unemployment tax wage reports for the last 4 quarters, just in case that's what the situation was. You want to be able to show that too. And then you want to have any type of trust agreements that's held by a disadvantaged owner, because they also look at those different types of, trust agreements and everything. So that's just like what I call Meshelle's checkoff list. I mean, these same list of information is on the website, whether you're doing the county, the city, the state, they're on the different websites. It's just that they might ask for them in different ways, but the checkoff lists are the same. So I
Right.
always tell companies, for the state of Maryland, I always say, while you're waiting to be certified at the Maryland Department of Transportation, and as an MBE or DBE, think about the Small Business Reserve, because Maryland Small Business
Right.
Reserve program, I always say that's the low hanging fruit program, and it makes it easier for you to get some contracts while you're waiting to go through the process, because that's a self certifying program. A lot of people do not know or understand that it is a self-certifying program. And in that program, you compete only against those companies that's in your same industry and value of money. It's like you're
Right.
not competing against the big guys. You are competing against those like businesses and stuff. So you have a bigger percentage opportunity to get a contract as a small business reserve. I'm gonna tell you, Maryland, we fought really hard to have that program, and because we were listening to the voice of the companies. They were like, "Come on, you got to do something else here to help us out to get our foot in the door." And so we birthed the Small Business Reserve Program, and it took some time to get off its feet, but it is very, very successful right now. And I always encourage businesses to utilize a Small Business Reserve Program. I think that that's a really good program for businesses to start out with. I always say, if you want to get your feet wet a little bit, do that type of program.
So, real quick question. Talking about, especially when you're talking about the small business reserve and programs like that. Um, One of the challenges that I've heard people talk about in trying to get certified is like there's even with a new product or if they're a new business, it takes a long time. It takes longer than some businesses that are already in it. Is that true, or is that just kind of like one of those old wives' tales that entrepreneurs tell each other
No,
to
I'm
tell
gonna
us about how tough?
and look, in my 30 something years, I have
Mhm.
seen the time frame go up and down, right?
Mm.
Um, you know how you said there are hills and valleys, right?
Okay.
So I always say peak time for certifications is always around the spring and the summer. And that's when you get an influx in.
Hmm.
The state,
Okay.
they don't have a lot of resources. Excuse me. They don't have a lot of human capital. And
Hmm.
it's everything is not always electronic. Some parts of the application process, you still need the human eye to review that information.
Mm.
So you can have an influx of applications, and it can like either go slow or it can go really fast. I have
Okay.
been, I have been on the MDOT's MBEAC for some years, for 20 something years. I participated on that before I retired. And
Mm.
I saw times when we were doing we did 3 meetings a month.
Hmm.
We would average almost 20 applicants just in the meeting
Wow.
session, right? Now,
Right.
right. So what I'm saying is, if we were doing 20, then that means it was a backlog of applications, and we were trying
Right.
to really get them out. And there were some months where they added an extra meeting date. Okay. Then there would be some months when we would have 5 companies in the morning, 3 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Right. So that told you if things were caught up. It was, wasn't a whole lot of applications coming through.
Okay.
So it varies. So
So,
I know people get upset about the length of time, but it does vary. I've seen it vary.
well, one of the things it sounds like is that we should make sure that as we're applying, that we apply. Sounds like summer, I mean, fall and winter might be a good time first, but also make sure that we're also doing other business and not just waiting for the state contract to come in. Because
Let
I
me
think
tell you.
sometimes people think that, oh, I'll get a
Mhm.
state contract and then I'll be good and blah, blah, blah. But you should really still be doing business, right?
Mhm.
Rather than just
Oh yeah.
waiting. Okay.
So at the beginning of the show, William, I was talking about
Oops, sorry.
no, no,
Well,
no.
me,
This is
sorry.
good. No, let me. This is good. This is good
Okay.
because what I was talking about was I said, is certification for you? I have seen where when I was saying I have seen where companies they just they go through all of this process to put an application in to get their certification, and I'm like, so you changed your entire way of doing business
Mm,
to be a part
mm,
of this program because someone said you should be certified. And
mm-hmm,
you was like, oh, okay, right?
mm-hmm,
Won't
mm-hmm,
you get
mm-hmm,
certified so you can work with me on my next contract? But you had to change your whole way
mm-hmm.
of how you operate your business. And so I said in the beginning, please think about, is certification for you? Because say you're working as a subcontractor with that prime and you only worked on say maybe 3 contracts, and after that
Mm-hmm.
then you have no others for you, right?
Ooh.
So the thing is, you have to think about, so what am I going to now do to leverage the fact that I'm certified? Like, see, that's another marketing campaign for you.
Mm.
After you were already doing well, not
Mm-hmm.
being certified. So if you weren't certified, you was already doing well. You had already established yourself, marketed. Now that's another type of marketing campaign, because now you're trying to leverage the fact that you're certified. And when I say it's a different type of marketing campaign, now it's like, okay, yes, it's on my resume, but now who do I need to get in front of? How do I
Mm-hmm.
need to now utilize this to let them know, if you give me the opportunity to be a subcontractor, this is what I can do for your company, right? How can we partner on this? So it's a different type of marketing campaign when you're trying to leverage certification.
Mm. Well, okay. So, Meshelle, thank you so much for answering my question. I know this is very unorthodox, but because I'm sitting here and I apologize for not catching it from the beginning, but I'm like,
No,
I want to know stuff. Like I need help. So I'm so grateful to you for answering my questions and for bringing all this out to all the people too. So thank you so much.
well, you know what? I appreciate you popping in.
Oh,
look. I was the lonely diva tonight. And
Oh
so
wait, I mean you was doing it. You was doing it. I was sitting there like, go ahead and tell me some more about that list, though. Like that was pretty comprehensive. I appreciate
but
it.
I wanted to talk about it in this way so that
Mhm.
people would just know that, how, like, I know I've been pushing certification for so many years because I've
Right.
always worked for state entities. And what companies don't understand is that's what we have to do because we need to achieve goals. If the
Yep.
state goal is 25%, we can't make it if we don't have certified companies.
Yep.
So we have to push and market and push companies toward certification.
Okay.
The money
So
is there. The money
yeah,
is
yeah, it
there.
is.
Oh,
So
okay. So
yeah.
it's not that the money's not there. It's what the state, city, county, or whatever needs to do to make the process easier for the companies. Okay.
Okay.
One of the things I said in the beginning is that I have been talking to politicians, talking to whoever about there are similarities in the certification process in the state
Mm-hmm.
of Maryland for the city, county, federal, all of that. It's
Mm-hmm.
similarities in the process.
Right.
A group needs to sit down and say, how can we streamline it so that if William gets certified with MDOT as a state and federal MBE DBE, why can't you use that same thing and just be federal, certified with the county, certified?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to fill out the same stuff that you filled out again.
That doesn't even make sense. I'm
And
still
it's
the same
like,
person.
right. So I don't know. Maybe one day it'll happen. But
Oh no, you know what, Meshelle? Meshelle, you got me worked up. This I don't know if you talked to Donnie about this. We don't like it when he don't. Well, he don't like it. I'm okay when I get worked up because I mean now I got something to do. We had a conversation with the mayor today. Asked him about the procurement program because I
wow,
was like, "We're not going." Because again, it don't matter if we give MBEs registered if they get their checks from the city late. That doesn't help nobody.
that
And
doesn't
actually,
help.
I've seen a number of businesses who get state contracts but
Mhm.
they don't understand about that whole. Can I come back and talk to you about the budgeting part, please? Because you got. Whew.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I always talk about that too, because you can have where you can be electronically paid and all of this, but
Right.
okay, that's paying if you are prime.
That's one of those right there. See, you Michelle. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave because you gonna get me in trouble with Donnie again. I just get because I'm bad enough now. Chap is in the background. I bet you he already texted Donnie, but
Well,
it's okay. Oh damn! I just saw the thing
so
pop up. I think
that
Donnie's coming.
that
I think
that
Donnie's
works
coming.
when you're a
Oh
prime.
yeah.
The prime still has to
Oh,
pay.
here we go. See, I'm in trouble now.
Oh, Mr.
See what you did?
Glover, how are you
Hey, Donnie.
doing?
Hey, guy. How you doing, sir?
How you doing? I was just wrapping up my piece on the
You're doing really
certification.
well. Oh, I've been
And I
watching the
said,
whole
Mr.
show. Well, we gotta
Oh, okay.
plug.
Mm,
We gotta plug somebody.
okay.
Chap, come on in. Come on, Chap. Because this is a family affair.
So let me tell you something.
Wasn't dressed for the
Okay,
show.
see now you got
No, Chap is the man with the plan for me because when I logged in, he's the only one I saw. And I said, well, where's Donnie? Because I was going to be throwing some questions out for him to talk about how he does a wonderful job doing marketing and advertising for our businesses, right? And Chap said, well, I was told to be here to assist you. Now I'm like, I will take that. I will take that. And Chap, he was like, we're going to run with this. I'm like, we sure are. So Chap has been in my corner.
so on that
He's been
note,
my man.
okay. So look here. Chap, tell them when is your show? Plug your show, Chap.
Shared space, Monday night, 7:05, shared space with Quita and Chap. We talk to people in the community, get the real scoop of what's going on in Baltimore.
That's
Pretty
what
simple.
I'm saying.
I shared it. Look,
And tell
I'm gonna tell
them
y'all, I'm gonna put it. Say again? Yeah, I was just going to share with y'all, like,
Go ahead.
I'm born and raised Baltimore, but being perceived as white, Donnie still gave me the mic, and I thought that it's not my narrative to tell. I'm not trying to usurp the mic from my people, so we make sure that we share that mic, and people can tell their story and their truth in Baltimore City.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you for what you're doing, Chap.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
appreciate it.
My privilege.
Well, he also has 2 black sons, so he has a vested interest in this network.
Absolutely. And Donnie's my brother.
William Honolulu, when is your show?
Hey, my show is Monday through Friday, the morning show, 10 a.m. to 11.
Very
Yeah,
good.
And
Very
what do you
good.
cover?
You had a lot of fun. I love your show, man. I'm your biggest fan. Facebook.
Oh,
told me I'm your
yeah, I
biggest
know.
fan.
Chap is with me every morning.
Bro, they gave me a trophy. They were like, "You're his favorite fan." So I'm like, "Great." I'm not even making that up.
I know.
I got a Facebook
Every
trophy.
morning he's right there with me.
Yeah, man.
Well, you know what?
Now,
I
one
wanna
last
say-
question, and I'm out.
Uh-huh.
Meshelle,
Yes.
Meshelle, tell them what you do on a daily basis. Thank you, and great job. Tell them about your job.
Thank you, Donnie. So I am the director of small business programs for WMATA, the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority. As I was telling William, I retired from the state of Maryland. I was the director of civil rights and fair practice for the Maryland Transportation Authority, tunnels, tolls, and bridges. My job was to oversee all of the programs, MBE, DBE, Small Business Reserve, the veterans programs, Title VI and Title VII when I was with the state of Maryland. So I had the whole kitchen under
You
my
was-
hand.
So you know where all the money's hidden. That's what I realize with this now. That's what you're trying to. That's what you're trying to say. You know where. Okay. You're not slick. I'm coming back. I gotta go now because I gotta go. Because we gotta plug our sponsors too. I'm going to enjoy a nice business meeting at Darker Than Blue Grill tonight, and I will have pictures on my show tomorrow. But I'm gonna take it light though. I'm gonna take it light. So I'm only going to have like maybe a burger and something like. I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna save the big stuff for the weekend. That's what I'm gonna say. The big stuff.
Okay. Well, then
But I'm
what
gonna check you all out
do
later,
is-
and yeah, I gotta come back and find out where the money is.
All right, now, William, thank you for popping in.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Okay. So, Chap, I'm going to close out by saying that Carla Nelson Chambers will be here next Wednesday. She will be here with Carla Tucker and Robin Gibson. They will do part 2 of Understanding Minority Business Certification. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of what we do every week. You know, thank you for the conference room conversations. Good night, everybody.